Well, the Gillard government has posted the first big instalment on its plans to deliver the promised budget surplus. Up to $4 billion will be cut from defence spending by delaying or cancelling major projects. To ease the pain, the government has brought forward a 3-year-old promise of a plan for a new submarine fleet, but that hasn't deflected opposition criticism, as our political correspondent Tom Iggulden reports from Canberra.
With Julia Gillard's leadership on the ropes, unpopular decisions around budget time need to come with a sweetener. Today it was $200 million toward a design study to kickstart stalled plans for 12 new submarines.
And as we do that work, we are heading towards those new submarines being assembled right here in South Australia.
Later, at an Asian business forum in Melbourne, the Prime Minister moved to reassure a very different audience about the ramifications of doubling Australia's submarine fleet.
We remain clear about the essential importance of Australia's military capability and alliances in this century. Just as important is our continued commitment to building strong partnerships and friendships with other nations of this region.
But alongside the baby steps toward the new subs, there were backward steps elsewhere.
Defence will be making an important contribution to the government's fiscal objectives.
Some money will be saved by scrapping plans for a new artillery piece, and up to $2 billion will be saved by delaying by 2 years the delivery of joint strike fighters Australia has on order from the US.
The deferring of the Joint Strike Fighter is probably not a bad thing, given the problems the program's had in the United States and the fact that the US has deferred its own acquisition.
There are 11 countries participating with this aircraft. It is vital that all of the countries that said they would stump up continue to support the project.
The government's promising frontline personnel numbers will be maintained and there'll be no downgrade of kit for serving soldiers.
There will be no impact on any of our overseas operations, including Afghanistan, East Timor and the Solomon Islands.
The Defence Minister says the cuts are responsible.
What we tried to do is to reflect a tight fiscal period by doing things which, when a better fiscal environment returns, we can bring back to the same level things that we have been doing.
Or, as the opposition leader put it,
moving off budget, spending that should be on budget. It's moving out of next year, spending that should be in next year.
More defence cuts will be revealed in Tuesday's budget. The Prime Minister says Mr Abbott should support them since he's also committed to a surplus through cuts to spending.
Every budget saving we put forward that he doesn't take adds to that total and adds to the incredible cutbacks he would need to make.
Instead, some in the opposition are criticising the cuts.
Defence, in terms of funding, is going in the wrong direction totally under this government.
The Shadow Treasurer is suggesting the opposition could find more cuts.
We want to see what the benefit is in actually building these submarines here in Australia rather than getting cheaper versions from overseas or perhaps even, in fact, fixing the Collins-class subs that we already have.
The government also announced today it's cracking on with a new defence white paper, just 3 years after the last one was published. The opposition says that's an admission of failure, but the government says a lot's changed since 2009. Tom Iggulden, Late Line.